Hey guys, it's Ostomonday and this week I'm going to be answering your questions. I put a post out on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram this morning asking for lots of questions and now I'm going to answer them. First, let's go over to Facebook. Are there any activities or hobbies pre-operation that you enjoyed and can't do now, or any that you couldn't do before because of the Crohn's but you can now? I wasn't very active before my surgery. I was quite lazy, to be honest, and I've only really got into my health and fitness after my ostomy surgery. I remember the first time I walked down the road, because I was so weak after my surgery, and the first milestone for me was being able to walk to the end of the road and back. And I remember thinking, God, I feel really proud of myself and really like buzzing from it. I mean, I was only walking down the road, but I felt this really weird sense of adrenaline. I thought, well, if I could do that and get a buzz out of it, maybe I could do something more physical. And as time got on with my recovery, I started putting on more and more weight, which in the beginning was good, but then I got too overweight. So that's when I started my health and fitness. So that's when I really started liking fitness, way after my surgery. So yeah, and there's nothing that I've not been able to do. You know, I've been able to do Insanity, I've been able to do T25, Turbo Fire, Zumba. I know people who run marathons, swimming, rugby players. It doesn't seem to stop you as long as you're careful, as long as you look after yourself and protect your abdomen. I can't imagine there being I can't imagine you not being able to do something. What is some advice and or product that you wish you had known about before or right after your surgery that would have made your new ostomy life easier? Ooh, good question. Generally knowing about the fact you could get convex and all the accessories, because I was having so many problems with my stoma. I always say I've got a problematic stoma because it points down and it's kind of retracted on one side where a stitch didn't dissolve properly, and it pulled the stoma downwards when it healed. So in the beginning, for a long time, I struggled with that, and I couldn't. It just kept leaking over and over and over again. And I think if I'd have known about the fact that you could get convex bags and you know, the ostomy belts to go with it and the moldable rings and all those kind of things before, it wouldn't have got to such a bad stage where my skin completely broke down. So I think if I'd have known about, I mean, it's difficult because I could have just researched it, but I didn't know what I was looking for when I first had my surgery. So I think if I could go back in time and tell myself, it'd be, just have a look and see what products are out there, because yeah, I think it would have saved a lot of heartache. Do you find your stomach muscles very weak after surgery, and do you do any exercises to strengthen them, such as sit-ups or planking? Yeah, well, immediately after surgery, very, very weak, because I had a laparotomy, so the cut all the way down the middle. So obviously they cut through all the muscles, so even just sitting out of bed straight after my surgery was really difficult. And I remember giving the physiotherapist a real hard time because I was just in so much pain, and I felt that she was bullying me, so she kind of avoided me for a while. But yeah, in the early days it was very difficult, and I kind of thought to myself, oh my god, am I ever going to be able to just you know, lift things? Or yeah, I kind of felt like this was it now. I was going to be like a patient forever and I wouldn't be able to do anything myself. And then literally within a few weeks I started getting my strength back, and then because I was able to eat properly, I was feeling more energetic, and not that I was bouncing off the ceiling, but I knew that I was going to get better. I knew that I was recovering. So I was patient, and eventually, you know, very gently I managed to get my strength back up. The only strengthening I do now really is within my workouts. So I don't know, Turbo Fire or Insanity and stuff. There's going to be, obviously all these workouts will have a core section, and I wear a hernia prevention belt during those periods, but it's I always worry that it's going to put a bit of strain on my abdomen, so I'm quite cautious with those. I don't go full pelt with those. I'll be much more, I'll do a modified version of those. Since doing those workouts though, I mean, I'm still beginner level. I don't have that much core strength, but it's a lot better than when I first had my surgery, and I'm hoping I can continue to improve it. And now over to Twitter. Hi, I have ulcerative colitis, currently in remission. Recently I've been struggling with tiredness. Do you get this, and do you have any tips? Yes, I get very tired. I'm also in remission from my Crohn's disease, but it doesn't mean that I don't still have a couple of the other symptoms. So I don't have the pain as such, and I don't have you know, any bleeding or anything like that, and clearly I'm staying on top of my weight quite well at the minute. So in that aspect, yeah, but I do feel tired quite a lot of the time. And my husband Chris, he always sort of looks at me every time, like, even if I've had like 10 hours sleep and I'm by sort of like, you know, late afternoon, early evening, I'm yawning and I feel quite tired, and he looks at me like I'm crazy, but it's just because I just don't have the energy levels. I take iron tablets which help a bit, but the other thing is vitamin B12 injections, which this year one of my New Year's resolutions is to do those more frequently and more consistently, because last year I was a bit slack with them. But basically B12, because B12 is absorbed in your colon, and because with an ileostomy you're not using your colon, you don't get that B12, which is why you have the injection. I didn't know this was when I went to my GP, and he was like, did you know about this? And I was like, no. And this was probably about a year or so after my surgery, so I've been doing it for like, no, it can't be that long, maybe 2 years after my surgery, so it must be about 3 years that I've been having it done. But I do it myself. I used to go into the clinic and then they said, do you want to just do it on your own? And I was like, okay. So they give me the Sharps box and all the stuff, and I get on prescription, and yeah, I just inject myself every 3 months with B12, and it seems to help. And even though it helps, but when you're coming up to the time where you need to do it again, I know that I'm due for the injection because I can feel myself getting really tired. So yeah, that's the other thing. But drinking lots more water seems to keep me more alert as well. Surprisingly, stay away from caffeine and actually try and drink less caffeine and more water. It just seems to help me stay more alert. I don't always stick by that rule because I'm pretty much addicted to tea, but it seems to help when I do that. And trying to get as much kind of healthy food in, just generally gives me more energy. So there's lots of little changes that you can do, which is a lot of the, you know, what will help anyone. Generally the public could probably do with eating more healthy stuff, and they could probably get a lot of health benefits that is just like a byproduct of eating healthier. So that is my tip. Can you eat breakfast bars like Kellogg's or Alpen bars? Also, can you eat cereal like Crunchy Nut or granola? Yes, I eat Crunchy Nut cornflakes pretty much every day. If you see on my YouTube channel, I do daily vlogs, and I vlog about what I eat, and it's mainly to do with my weight loss journey and tracking what I'm having, but also it might be useful for anyone who's just interested in what I can and cannot eat. So make sure you subscribe so you see all the daily vlogs, and you'll see every day what food I eat. But yeah, Crunchy Nut cornflakes is fine. In the early days I used to stay away from anything like nuts and seeds and anything like the cereal bars, but more recently, I'd say within the last year or two, I've been a bit more brave, and I've tried like cereal bars and stuff, and it's been fine. But just remember that everyone's different, so something that works for me might not work for you. But generally speaking, yeah, I can pretty much have anything. And actually today, which isn't related to the cereal thing, but talk about food, I actually had mushrooms for the first time in 5 years. What things do you avoid eating, and what has given you a blockage or partial blockage? I did a video about this last week, I think it was last week, yeah, about eating certain foods and what I can and can't eat, and I mentioned a few foods that have caused me blockages in that video, so I will link that video in the description, or you can click here, and that will take you to that video where I just talk about what I've been able to eat and the foods that I don't eat, so hopefully that will help. How is your Crohn's disease, and how often do you get flares? I've been in remission ever since my surgery, which was 5 years ago. I've not had flare-ups as such, but I still have those other symptoms like I mentioned earlier about being tired, and my hair is quite thin, but I think that's more from the azathioprine that I'm on than anything else, because I think one of the side effects of that is like hair loss. But yeah, every time I brush my hair, it's just like loads coming. Well, not loads, I mean I'm quite lucky in the sense that, I mean, you can see it, I mean it's like here for example, that's quite thin there. How do you stop high-waisted knickers or jeans rubbing on your scar? Well, my scar is interesting. It's not a normal flat scar, it's actually very, very dipped. So any kind of garment wouldn't rub on the scar itself, because it's basically, imagine I'm lying down and this is my tummy, like that would be like a normal tummy. Where my scar is, it does a proper dip in the middle, so my clothes would be on sort of those bits of squidge. Let's call it squidge. I'm not going to say fat, let's call it squidge. So the clothes are there, nowhere near the scar bit. So the scar itself doesn't really get rubbed as such. But I do tend to, and it's purely out of habit since I had my surgery, because when the midline wound was healing, they used to have to pack it because it basically popped open after my surgery. I think I mentioned it in another video, but yeah, they didn't stitch it or staple it, and it basically popped open so that it was a really wide scar, and so they had to pack it every day for like 7 months. It was crazy. A very long recovery, but I was so used to having a bit of gauze or a bit like some kind of swab in the middle that when it had healed, when I didn't need really any swab or any sort of like gauze anymore, I felt weird without it. So even now it's completely healed, I still just roll up a little bit of gauze and just put it in the middle, just to kind of, I don't know, I don't know, it's a really strange thing to do, but yeah, because the scar is so like indented, that I just place a bit of gauze where the dip is. And I think it helps because then it evens, because there's such a dip and such like a valley, it almost like creates a little bit of a padding, so that, I don't know, it's weird, I don't know why I do it, but I always do. Don't need to do it, I think it's just more of a comfort thing, but it might help if you put something there, like, so for example, let me find it, like this, just a little bit of, it's just like a swab, a cotton swab, but you could, I mean, depending how big the scar is, and you could open it up and, you know, have it like that, or maybe in another video I'll show you what I mean if you want to see that, which is just a strange thing, but if you do, then leave it a comment, and maybe I will. I probably will. If you really want to see it, then I will. So that's it, that's all my questions for today, but if you have any more questions, please do leave them in the comments, or tweet me, or Facebook message me, or leave a comment, or whatever is easiest for you. And I hope you're having an awesome day. I will see you in the next video. Bye.